Hey everybody, welcome back. We lost the last run. I'm sore about it, but not that much. Because it's not every day you're going to have a run with 0.42 speed. G894 Voiwa. I'll tell you. Thank God for Seraphim. Because we're in a weird spot right now. Speed's great. HP's great. And the run itself is in general, is just not bad. But there's one really bad thing about it. And that's rate of fire plus damage. So our DPS, if you want to be technical, if you want to fish for a little bit more sympathy, there's two really bad things about it. Our damage stat and our rate of fire. And our first boss is not going to do what we need them to do when it comes to making that a little easier to deal with. However, not insulted to have a cube of meat. What I'm hoping for, in actuality, is a key. Because it can all start to come together for us. A key is all you need. We get a key. The key allows us to go to the shop. We use Mr. Meeseeks to pick up an item on the shop. Who knows what kind of item it could be, you know? It could be something as useless as magic fingers, which probably just would not buy. That's unfortunate. I was just about to launch into, I had a whole second act planned there about how, like, well, if we don't get a key, at least we'll get a spirit heart, and then, you know, we can do what we always do, or often do, and try to make an orbital kind of the soup du jour for the next floor. Unfortunately, that did not work out. Maybe, I would hazard a guess, this is a secret room. Bomb? Yo, we did get a bomb. And a key, for that matter. Use the bomb here. It's all pretty useless. Thank you. But I'm not gonna say negative things about being able to get a spirit heart. Am I actually gonna crack this open? I don't know how I feel about that. But what I do know is that now we have arcade chances. That's worth something on the next floor. But we're really, like, we're kind of in a holding pattern until we get to deal with the devil. And that's okay, too. And I'm not talking about the mountain in Pakistan. That's right. I know where K2 is. I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but I've been watching a little bit of Jeopardy. K2 is an interesting one, because everybody... Oh, boy. Everybody, myself included, always thinks it's in the Himalayas. And actually, it's in the Karakoram Mountains. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. My 9th grade geography teacher. So the exact situation that we needed to have happen to be safe basically just came true. We got not only bombs that allowed us to get out of the room without taking damage. Oh lord. We also managed to bomb our way into the shop. We got money. Actually, no, we didn't get money out of the shopkeeper when we blew him up, I think. But we were able to get the reroll nonetheless. I might be persuaded to purchase Mama Mega. Basically because if we don't improve our DPS here, I'd like to have what essentially amounts to a free floor. And I've never been so appreciative to have Seraphim. That's all I'm going to say about that. Dude, okay, it helps. It does not help, really, but I'm going to stick with it regardless. I don't really want deals with the Angel. I want to get stuff that amps our DPS to the maximum. So we do still have an item room to go to as well. I still would like to buy Mama Mega. I think if we could get through the caves for free and maybe have a chance to pick up a DPS upgrade down there, I'd be happy. We do want to go to our shop. I guess we'll use Mama Mega to try to grab something for free. Bar none, though, we have to say a couple of words about this run. Thanks for the speed, even though it wasn't that high. Thanks for the HP, which was that high. And more than anything else, thanks for the bombs and the tinted rocks, which are worth more than any other item that we've gotten so far, to be honest with you. The fact that we're 4.5 spirit hearts up. Yeah, 4.5 spirit hearts up your butt and around the corner, maybe. Okay, so we're going to take the virus here. People are like, whoa, that came out of nowhere. The virus is fine, and our speed is still good enough to take it. So the thing is, I'm trying to bring back the insult. Up your butt and around the corner. If people decide it's not worth bringing back, so be it. But I think it's a really, really good way to respond to a question that you might know the answer to, but still want to make a joke out of. Somebody asks you, hey, where's the bathroom? You say up your butt and around the corner. Try not to mess it up. It's especially good if they ask for something that's too large to reasonably fit inside of their bottom. Because then it's like, you know, hey, have you seen my my 3 wood? Yeah, I think I saw it up your butt and around the corner. Just trust me. Try it at your... Next time you're having lunch with your boss and he goes, where's the lunch menu? Just sneak in a little, it's up your butt and around the corner, and let me know how it goes. Forget Mama Mega. Now that we have so many bombs, I'm going to be a little bit more reckless. I want an item. I am okay, this is fine. I will buy it. I don't want to, but I will buy it. It could end up turning out not so good. You know, if we get to choose between 2 terrible items for the next few floors, we probably would have preferred a situation in which we could just, you know, get 1 item that's actually good instead of having the chance to get more items in the future that are worth something. But still, well, whatever. I stand by it for now. I think we're doing okay. And don't give me the NL, I took your advice and I got fired, now you owe me severance. Look, it's one of the things we gotta be cognizant of. And I bring this gripe up now and then, but I truly do stand by it. Nothing for me, well, there's a few things. But very few things kill a joke for me faster than a good joke followed by, you know, a streamer being like, that's a good... we all recognize this is a joke, but don't do obviously harmful thing, you know? We talk about it on the show now and then. You know, I'll be like, hey Josh, what'd you have for dinner tonight? And he'll be like, broken glass. And then I'll be like, oh, broken glass, huh? What's that like? And he's like, well, it's a bit sharp for my taste, but you get the idea. Look, is there a joke in there somewhere? The joke is that he didn't eat glass. It's pretty good by Twitch standards, okay? We're working with a new platform here. But then if someone steps in and goes, well, all joking aside, don't eat glass for dinner. I always feel like I just have to... I don't know how the law works when it comes to this stuff, but I feel like if something is an obvious joke, you don't have to give a disclaimer. There's a... like, when Jackass was on the air, and it had a disclaimer, I was like, legally, that makes a lot of sense. I think it goes without saying, you know, that you probably should not put a rat inside of your butthole and then let a poisonous snake try to bite it out without nipping you on the scrotum. Sorry, Google DeepMind. That's a high-level problem to see if there's anything worth censoring there. You know, even as a child, I looked at that and I thought to myself, maybe not. But if someone's like, yeah, well, I ate poison for dinner and it was awesome. I don't think you have to say, don't eat poison for dinner, okay? I think there's like, there's gotta be like a common sense protocol, right? I always feel like in my generation, we grew up thinking that like that's how things happened. Like, you know, if anything could even slightly be construed as your own fault, you were gonna get sued for it. Well, my son was watching your Twitch show. You made a joke about Tide Pods. He's 24. He ate 6 of them and then died. You know, with all due decorum, I would be like, ma'am, we were not your son's problem. We might have been the catalyst, but simultaneously, you know, I feel like he's been structurally failed. You definitely parasitoid tears. At different avenues of his life, you know? Like, we always heard about the story of, like, wow, that's crazy, you know? One lady, she went to McDonald's, she ordered coffee, and then she spilled the coffee on herself, and she sued McDonald's. What a dummy. Everybody knows coffee's hot. And it turns out, you know, when the facts of the case came to light, you know, the coffee was served, like, 40 degrees Celsius hotter than it was supposed to be served, and it, like, melted her legs to her pants and stuff like that. You know, same, like, I was always told. What? How? You've been donated to. Don't even start with me. Maybe I've got to push you to 990 or to 1,000 cents. I don't think I do, but you know, my parents or grandparents, I can't remember, were like, be careful when you get older, because if you have a party and somebody gets drunk and then drives home, you could be on trial for murder if they die. And I read an article about it the other day, and turns out, and this is one where you definitely should do your own research just to be sure. First off, if you drive drunk, stop. You're being it's an evil act. You're being a scumbag. Everybody knows you shouldn't drive drunk, but you know, I refuse to take like an attitude of like, haha, mistakes happen, you know? It's just, it's inexcusable. I've been a driver since I was 16. I've consumed alcoholic beverages since 12:01 a.m. on my 19th birthday, which was halfway through my second year of university. It was very hard to wait. And I've never had a situation in which I've driven drunk. Basically, I mean, you choose to drive drunk through like a lack of planning, right? You like drive your car to the bar, and then you're like, oh, whoops, I had 6 drinks. I had no other options now except to call a cab, but that's expensive. You know, so again, stop that. Like, extremely, though. But, if someone goes to your house for a party, there's no reasonable way you could know how much alcohol they consume. Now, you should try to stop them if they're visibly impaired, of course. Not just for their own safety, but, you know, for the safety of others. But it doesn't make you, at least from the interpretation of the article that I read, which was written by Judge Judith Scheinlin, if I remember correctly. It doesn't make you criminally responsible if, you know, they sneak out the bathroom window and, you know, drive into a tree somewhere and something bad happens to them. You know, I do think people make too much about the idea that, you know, our generation has a lack of personal responsibility. But I do think, you know, for these particular things, you make a joke about eating glass, you know. You don't feel like you have to apologize for it. I went to one of Kate's performances. I was like, this didn't make me a popular person at dinner afterwards, but Kate did a Christmas concert with the symphony. Maybe you've heard of it. And in between the pieces of the symphony, by the way, if anybody out there has to, like, if you're part of a family that has to watch the Messiah concert every single year, oh my God, you have my mercy. I saw the Messiah performed once when Kate was in university. Everyone knows, you know, what's so bad about the, you know, hallelujah, hallelujah. No, you don't understand. That's the best part by a factor of 1,000. The rest of it is like hymnal opera. Every valley shall be exalted, and it just repeats over and over. And every valley, and it's like 20 minutes of this dude going, every van, and all the rough spots made plain, and every valley, and you're like, yeah, I know. Shall be what? Shall be exalted? No kidding. Yeah, I got it when you said it the first 40 times. But anyway, so she has to play in part of that. And she's of the same opinion on this one. She's no fan of the Messiah concert. I had to watch the whole Messiah concert once. It's like 3.5 hours long, and every single one is like, you know, it's the same thing. You know how people complain about musicals, and they go like, hey, you know, I've grown to like musicals, or at least tolerate them a little more as I've gotten older. But when I was younger, I definitely had the opinion that was like, you know, Why does every musical have to start with people talking like about their day, but they're not talking, they're singing? It's always like, oh, I'm going downtown to the newspaper shop, and oh, what's this? Hey, Timmy, hi, Jim. And it's, you know, it just is like, there's such a rigmarole just to have a conversation. That's the Messiah, but written in like 1850 and just repeating the same words over and over. And the hills made lo 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 lo. Anyway, in between the performances, and thankfully this one is just the highlights, so you actually only get the good stuff. But this dude who is he's like a local Vancouver celebrity, but not anybody you would know. Even if you lived here, you probably wouldn't know him. But it's not like Michael Bublé, is what I'm trying to say. Oh my God, it's a Tears upgrade, thankfully. He is like an MC, so he reads stories in between. And he read a story that like made me roll my eyes so much. He's able to get away with it because every one of these concerts is 75 years old. And that's not an exaggeration or meant to be a judgment. But, you know, he read a poem. I don't know if he wrote it, but it was about how like it's really hard to be Santa these days because everybody wants gifts that are gluten-free, and you gotta get the girls the same things as the guys, and well, this fictional character's life is so hard because of political correctness gone crazy. And then at the end, he's playing the role of Santa in the song, and he's going, this time I remembered I got goat head, by the way. He goes, I'll give them a gift that will fill them with mirth, inoffensive to all. Please enjoy. And he held on the word for like what felt like 3 hours. Peace on earth. And the whole song, or the whole audience, I mean to say, went, ooh, wow, what a touching poem. And my cynicism is already leaking. But wow, he baited us in with the humor, and the millennials these days they eat more vegetables than we do. They care about the environment and don't want to be wasteful. And then at the end, he's like, whoa, peace on earth, a social message. And I was just in the audience like, you coward. I was so, and I'm not doing a great job of getting my point across. But I was like, this is the most intellectually dishonest poem I've heard in my entire life. I guess we don't really need a Joker card. The whole thing is like, you know, do you think people are complaining just because they like to complain? Well, yes, sometimes. I mean, that's pretty much my reason d'etre. But simultaneously, you know, it's like, the parents don't want their kids to have candy. Bleh. Yeah, maybe they don't want their kids to have candy because, like, you know, 1 in 6 people in Canada has, like, adult onset diabetes, you know? It's not like they're just complaining to necessarily feel special. And then at the end of this song, he's like, won't somebody think of Santa, the fictional character? And then Santa, he's the bigger man. He goes, well, I can't give you toys anymore. I guess I'll give you peace on earth. Hey, Santa, if you could have given us peace on earth, maybe, you know, before the First World War would have been a good time for that, instead of giving everybody in England a single tangerine. Okay? I'm just throwing it out there. The poem doesn't make any sense. Moreover, it goes out of its way to be mean-spirited towards basically my generation, who, by the way, you know, bought my own ticket. No offense taken. You know, at the start of the show, the guy goes, oh, these concerts are made possible by a generous grant by, you know, blah man and blah lady. And I go, that's cool. What about the generous $45 ticket that I purchased to be here? Apparently, I'm just a piece of garbage because I want to eat an avocado. And I must not want peace on earth either. There's something about, if you look at it in just simply the superliminal text, essentially he is saying, you know, now that Santa has to treat everybody equal and it's such a chore, there's peace on earth. So thank you for that, at least. I mean, I don't even espouse the beliefs that you were maligning over the course of the poem. It's just too easy, is all I'm saying. Work harder. And when the audience went, ooh, it's like, is it that easy? You just make a poem and resolve it with like the most obvious platitude of all time? You know what would have been brave is if he ended and had Santa giving people like the middle finger. Everybody wants peace on Earth. There's like 4 monsters on Earth that are like, oh, war is good. You gotta work harder than that to get me. Hit me with that Aldous Huxley ending or something, even though I didn't think the rest of the book necessarily was, you know, that fantastic. Beautifully written, shocking ending. Instead is a, well, the world's got a lot of problems in it today, but I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. Oh my God, so brave. Anyway, I'm being a little bit needlessly mean-spirited. It's the same as the Christmas Shoes song, which, you know, is not my bit. It's a Patton Oswalt bit that I happen to also independently experience because of the fact that it was sung every year at a school assembly, the high school Malfin I went to, where it was just like the most like feel good but substanceless art ever created, and that just falls apart under the slightest scrutiny. You're gonna tell me there's like a 7-year-old there, she's trying to buy some shoes, and then the heartless shop owner is like, sorry, you're 15 cents short. But then through the kindness of strangers, somebody reaches into their pocket and pulls out like a $2 bill with Bill Clinton's face on it. They hand it to the cashier, and then you're like, there is good in the world. The whole song, instead of being like, you know, Mister, can I buy these shoes for my mama, please? It's Christmas Eve and these shoes are just her size. It should, the rest of the song at that moment should take a turn, and it should be like, and the bowels of hell opened up, and the shopkeeper was sucked down, and you're like, have some artistic courage, okay? I don't respect this. It's just like feel good for feel good's sake. And I don't mean that to be overly ridiculously negative. Like, I love happy endings and I love movies that are feel good experiences, but you gotta work for it. You gotta put in some sort of, there's gotta be something that makes it feel good. Otherwise, it's just kind of boring. I think. That's my 2 cents. Anyway, you can maybe find the poem for yourself, but took it as a lot of, and you know, you gotta understand as well, like, there's like generational warfare in Vancouver, because like, you know, the divide between the rich and the poor in the city is insane, and a lot of those lines are divided by housing prices, which are essentially like over 6 figures to own a home anywhere in the city. So just this audience full of people chuckling at the folly of the younger age, well, meanwhile they're like, you know, made like 700 grand just living in the house they bought on a gas station attendant salary 43 years ago. Even though I made up that fictional scenario in my head, it's enough to cook your goose and get you to complain about it later in an Isaac episode, I'll tell you what. Anyway, heading down to the next floor. Where are we going here? We're going left is where we're going. This is a good run. It is a plausible run to lose. I'm not going to apologize for what I said, by the way. I have to stand up for my own generation, you know? Eventually we're going to be the older generation, and we'll probably be out of touch in our own unique ways, if we're not already. But I hope, you know, I can still recognize the benefits that I got going on. Like, I got it easier, without a doubt, than the average millennial. I lucked into a job, and people keep trying to tell me it's hard work, and I refuse to believe them, because I think it's the first step in disillusionment. It's like, you know what, you're right. All these disproportionate advantages I have over some other people, I do deserve every single one of them on merit alone. But anyway, you know, I basically have like a very, what amounts to, for the most part, to be an easy job that, at least for now, pays me probably substantially more than I'm worth or deserve, and that's awesome. Which is, if anything, why maybe I hypercorrect and I'm like, dude, our generation is screwed. Because the other alternative would be like, I don't see what those millennials, and you see people like this all the time, you know? I don't see what the other millennials are complaining about. I started my own business after receiving a $750,000 loan from my father, who also paid for my education all the way through to my master's degree, and introduced me to many business contacts who allowed me to get started in this industry. It's just that simple. Why doesn't everybody just do that? So I'm, you know, I wouldn't say I'm down in the trenches helping the disenfranchised out necessarily. But at least mentally I feel like I'm fighting the good fight there. And the way I'm fighting the good fight is by refusing to laugh or ooh or ah or clap at that poem. And if that makes me a caricature of myself, then so be it. I still don't want any of those. I'm gonna hope, you know, thanks to Goathead, that we get a better deal with the devil on the next floor. There's a key for the key god. You wouldn't understand. And I'm coming at this from a passionate situation. You gotta understand, you know? Well, no, you don't have to understand. I don't even understand fully. Mostly, I wasn't offended at the people in the audience. I was offended that they all got by this incredibly manipulative Christmas poem. Earlier, they read a poem by Dylan Thomas. And I was touched. To the best of my knowledge, I had never heard, or I'd never read anything by Dylan Thomas. It was a poem about, you know, what it's like to experience Christmas through the eyes of a youngster. And there was some really, you know, touching lines in it. You know, like there's one line I'm paraphrasing, but is, you know, like Aunt Susie got up and sang a song about how her heart was a bird's nest. And I was like, that's powerful imagery. Her heart's like a bird's nest. And nobody batted a freaking eye. And then when Santa gave people world peace in their stockings, people pulled their handkerchiefs out. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, man. Anyway, the concert was really good. And it actually was. Despite all my curmudgeonly and largely exaggerated complaining here. It was a good show. And Kate plays well, but, you know, it's, what's the word I'm looking for here? It's very, like, I don't want to say it's pandering, but it was not a show built for me. I was there out of solidarity for my wife, and if she wanted me to go out 8 out of 8 concerts for that solidarity, I'd be there. But, you know, when they're doing a Hark the Herald Angels sing-along, I'm just keeping my friggin' mouth shut. What do you got in here? Okay. We will Diplopia. We'll certainly take Maw of the Void. I don't think we will take a second Maw of the Void. I don't know. I mean, we might as well take Free Razorblade, but... And if you'll excuse me, I'm just going to go up to the cathedral. The reason is, I'm kind of hungry for a win. I want it to be made clear, you know? It's kind of... I'm wary about, you know, pushing this idea, or communicating the idea that I'm very grumpy in real life, because it's genuinely not the case. These videos are an exaggeration of my sentiments on, you know, what I experience when I go out in public. And, you know, it's like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode, but worse, you know? It's just like little slights that are not actually even slights, but are exaggerated and blown out and interpreted in the worst way possible in order to spin them out into anecdotes. But that poem does suck. And it's a modern poem, or they've changed it recently, because the word Xbox is in it. Oh, Santa can't just give kids Xboxes anymore. He's got to give them peace on Earth. I don't understand. Like, the poem paints the picture that Santa is like this omnipotent being that's like, well, I could get people to stop fighting, or I could just give them Lego. Let's go with the Lego. 374 years running. Now, he also read the, like, 1800s, Yes, Virginia, There Is a Santa Claus letter from the New York Times. And lest you think I'm just a Grinch when it comes to Christmas stuff, I had never heard that either. And I was like, that's a pretty nice piece of writing. It appeals to the childlike sensibility while simultaneously, you know, handling it in a nuanced way that is inspiring both for adults and, you know, interpreted by children at least as well. Understandable by children, I mean. Even if it is a little dated. I don't know, they say some stuff in that episode that, or in that poem that I'm not necessarily, I don't agree with 160 years later, but that's okay. You know, they say some things like, oh, if you're not going to believe in Santa, you might as well not believe in, you know, love either. And I'm like, I need to see the steps you got to that QED. But, you know, I understand you are writing a reply letter to, like, an 8-year-old. But regardless, it's just that one manipulative poem. Just for the next year, it would be really nice if instead of doing that, he just got up and sang a true Christmas classic, All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey. The only good original Christmas song written since the 1950s. I'll allow it. If every Christmas song was as good as All I Want for Christmas Is You, sign me up. Well, it's been a remarkably Grinchy episode on Route to Christmas. I hope you've enjoyed your holiday season. I'll celebrate by eating a Tide Pod. Just kidding. Don't do that. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. If you did, click the like button. Helps a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. And follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Northernlion to be notified when I go live in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. See ya.